Hello there, Pluto. It is so great to have you on the show today. I'm really looking forward to this interview. I just know that I'm going to learn so much from you. So anyway, to start off this interview, I would like to firstly ask you to just tell us a bit about yourself, Pluto. Well, Hannah, I'm currently the most complex out of all the planets that you are going to be interviewing. Because for one, NASA can't quite know where to place me. Oh, why is that exactly then? On February 18th, 1930, I was first discovered. And from this time, right up until 2006, I sat quite comfortably beyond Neptune as the 8th planet within our solar system. But by 2006, I no longer suited the planet's definition, according to the IAU, that is. And from 2006, I became known as a dwarf planet. But, the story goes that they want to reclassify me as a planet once again. It's all a bit of a mystery to me. Oh, so right, you might be a planet once more. Hi, very good. Well, I wish you all the best with that. I hope you are able to gain that status again. But going on from that as well, Pluto, can you just tell us a little bit more about yourself? Something, other than your planetary status? Yes, well, I have 5 known moons. I'm also named after the god of the underworld, Hades. And I am a third water, covered with much ice, with more than 3 times as much water in all of Earth's oceans combined. But the remaining 2/3 of myself are merely rock. Oh, very, very interesting indeed. And seeing as you do rule Scorpio, and Scorpio is a water sign, and scorpions even live under rocks. I'm seeing a fun connection there. But I would like you to tell us actually a little bit more about the fact that you are named after Hades, the god of the underworld. In mythology, I was one of the 12 great Olympian gods which dwell on Olympus. Jupiter, who was the god of the heavens, was known as the chief. Then we have Saturn, the oldest, god of the earth. Then of course Neptune, who was claimed god of the sea. And myself, ruler, god of the underworld. Therefore, Hannah, I rule all that is buried in the earth. Every seed must be buried in darkness of the earth before it can then break out of its shell and come up into the light. So ultimately, all growth begins its life within the dark. Even within the womb, it is that unborn child that is within the darkness before it comes out into the light. This is why I am the god of the underworld. Oh, right. So are you saying that you, Pluto, are able to transform darkness into light and fear into love? Yes, I symbolize the point of transformation, the leap into the unknown. Some would say then that I rule the very underworld in all of humans as well as the highest part of them. What do you mean exactly by the highest part of them? Well, Hannah, that's what many people do not quite know or understand. They do not understand that I possess a much higher quality to me. This is what we call the Minerva, or most astrologers refer to it as the Phoenix. And it is this Minerva that works in a different fashion to the lower aspect. The lower aspect is where I work silently under the surface, and then I erupt with much violence. But this higher aspect changes the human from within, leaving them in a completely different state of consciousness. These people are left refined and regenerated. Though, much too often these people are not even aware of their very depths. They do not realize that before this higher octave, this Minerva, can be reached, their very personality has to be dissolved within the universal solvent. And this very dissolving is done in Neptune. You see, it is me who co-rules this 8th house with Mars. But it is Neptune who co-rules the 12th house with Jupiter. There is a water trine happening. But then we throw in the moon, who rules this 4th house. This trine, mighty water trine of emotions and psychology and the very depths, the very core of an individual. And this is why the water trine is so completely psychological and emotional and even physical. Because what is going on within their very core can manifest into their physical bodies, for the better or for the worse. So you see, Hannah, I want to transform these individuals, but they must be willing to do it. Oh wow, well that is very fascinating indeed. Thank you for explaining that in such detail, Pluto. So am I right in saying that part of your function is to catalyze experiences of total transformation? Exactly, because I know that a space must be cleared before anything new can be born. Therefore, humans on Earth will constantly find themselves purging and regenerating, constantly find themselves cleansing and restarting. It is a constant cycle. There is not just one transformation that takes place. It is a lifetime or many lifetimes of regenerating. Okay, I see. Very good. And I believe as well you are the slowest moving planet. Can you just describe then how slowly you really do move? Yes, I take approximately 247.7 years to make my way through all of the 12 signs. I will spend the longest time within the sign of Taurus for approximately 30 years, but then I will spend the least amount of time within the sign of Scorpio for around about 12 years. So with that, you're more of a generational type of planetary body then. Yes, I'm very much generational because I affect the collective unconscious of a generation as I pass from sign to sign. Though both by house position and aspects to other planets, I affect the person more individually. In fact, Hannah, my house position can be extremely important to the individual as it represents the very area where this purging must take place. But until this undercover work is completed and the dark side of themselves is known and understood, humans will not be able to know how to really use me correctly, unfortunately. Thank you certainly for explaining that for us then. Now, whenever you are in a sign, can you just describe really what that means? Yes, well, because I am shared by most others within the generation, the sign I'm in can provide clues about the very style of the generation and the transformation that these people will seek out. Okay, and like we were saying before there, you do naturally rule Scorpio. Then can you just explain a little bit more about that and what exactly that means whenever you are in the sign of Scorpio? Okay, let me start off by saying here that humans on Earth who are between the ages of 21 and 33 right now were born with this placement. Were born with me being in Scorpio. And this is actually where I'm the most powerful. These folks are known as Generation Y, or they're known as the millenniums. The ones who are very sophisticated technology-wise, but are very much often accused of being extremely lazy, self-absorbed, and narcissistic. But let me tell you this, Hannah. These souls are much more powerful than they give themselves credit for, or than the other generations before them give themselves credit for. Which is why, in their lifetime, it is so important for these people to understand the very power that comes from within themselves. Because this is a generation who has been conditioned to look for the power outside themselves. But it is these ones who must come to terms and realize that the power is within them. And this is the power that all the generations after them can learn. Now, when I was in the sign of Scorpio between 1984 and 1996, I underwent a lot of purging, a purging like never before. So Hannah, it is these first souls born during this time who will grow and will usher a new heaven and a new earth. These ancient evils that have been undercover for so long will be exposed and will be cleansed. All you have to do is look at all the amount of conspiracy theories that are popping up like daisies all over the internet and all over the world. Mostly stemming from this very generation. But what much of these people do not understand is that in order for this aiding of humanity to take place, they first must undergo a total metamorphosis of their own individual karma. Thus, activating their own direct experiences and spiritual awakenings for this new awareness to be anchored. It is the very collective unconscious within them all that must be brought out of the depths of themselves. It is the very ego that must be silenced. Just turn down, in order for love to be turned up. The power is in their hands, and each and every one of them must be willing to let the tides take them and no longer resist against what's coming. All right, okay, very good. No, I believe that we are, or you are, within the sign of Capricorn right now. So I would just like to ask you to go into that and to explain a little bit more about that, to give myself and the audience a deeper understanding of you being in Capricorn. What we are experiencing here, Hannah, is a global reorganization of power. Because you see, those born with myself and Leo currently hold the most jobs and the most wealth, but they have ever so failed to set up the future generations for success. So the power of this generation, Pluto and Capricorn, is to take that which has been created to control humanity and to turn it into something that is best for all of humanity. After all, it is about 7 more years until I shift into Aquarius. And what we have seen thus so far with myself in Capricorn is the consumerism and the irresponsibility, the very damaging of these things. And so the hardship will be centered on this addiction, a pure addiction to the immediate gratification, seeking these external sources for our self-acceptance and our self-validation, so that they can come to terms with their true value, which is the value within themselves. It is this very generation that is teaching us to recognize and embrace the necessary changes, whilst also showing us the global financial revolution. But just wait until Uranus goes into Taurus next year. You'll see. Very good indeed. Thank you for that, Pluto. Couple of questions just to really finalize this interview then, Pluto. Thank you for just being so patient. Whenever you go retrograde, can you just describe what that means for humans on Earth? When I go retrograde, my mandate is to regenerate the person before they attempt to transform the world. Whenever I go retrograde, I force the human to be concerned with being powerful in their own right. So I hope that you're starting to see truly what I'm about, of this transforming of power, transforming of energy, utilizing the energy consistently. Okay, alright. My final question, Pluto, is really, how does one truly utilize your energy? How does a person really own your energy? They will know that they have their own personal power, and they can use it ever so effectively and wisely. And although sometimes they feel compulsive, they will be aware of how to slow down and powerfully regenerate their energy. Very good indeed. Great, thank you. Just want to say thank you again for being here, Pluto. It has been an absolute pleasure to interview you. You are not as scary as I thought you would be, and I think that that is something that is highly misunderstood about you. But thank you. Thank you, my dear. Hi guys! Yes, I sort of forgot to film an outro once again, but hey, I'm doing it right now. That concludes my video on an interview with Pluto. And it actually concludes the entire series of the planets. So yeah, let me know in the comment section which sign your Pluto is in, even the housing, any aspects to your Pluto, just to make it a little bit more personal. I hope you enjoyed this series. I'm going to link my special astrology announcement video in the description, so please go to that video because I'm giving you guys a voice for my next series. And that's it guys, thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed and you want to see more videos from me, then click that subscribe button and I will be back with another video very, very soon. Bye!